What's happening, sports fans? Welcome back to football season. Christian Pedersen, Colton, Tull. The show is SD Prep Insider. We got a Division III San Diego CIF section football preview for you. This is not the definitive guide. This is a 10-minute, hey, we'll talk about as much as we can in an amount of content that you're going to actually enjoy listening to. And hey, I enjoy prepping for this one. Man, is the Division III playoffs absolutely going to be a thrill to watch how it all unfolds this year. Patrick Henry, Point Loma, San Pasqual, Bishops, Del Norte, Santana, University City, West Hills, Morris, El Cap, Canyon Hills, Bonita Vista, Imperial, Escondido, Orange Glen, Rancho Buena Vista, Olympian. Colton, when I say all of those teams,
top to bottom,
I think that you could hypothetically say, hey, at one point during the year, in the last year or two, I have felt like that is a good winning solid team. They've had their like at least back-to-back extended moments. So how do we even start to figure out what we're looking at in Division III this year?
It's incredibly hard. Like you said, top to bottom, this division is stacked. I think this is the division that has the most chance, or most teams that can compete for a championship. You got to start off, I think, with the teams that are coming up from D4. We'll start with University City, just because of how much they are returning. Returning their starting quarterback, Samuel Cooper, one of the most athletic quarterbacks in the county. They're returning their leading rusher, Daniel Lawrence, at running back. They're returning their leading receiver, Troy Granfers, at receiver. They're returning Caden Dawson at tight end. They're returning their leading tackler, and Jack Stahl. They have the foundation of a winning program, and they're bringing it all back to run it back one more time. And you got to think that's going to be a lot of fun to watch, but it's also going to be finally they all come together and they win that big game. Last year, they lost to Patrick Henry twice in the same season. So obviously this year we're watching that game against Patrick Henry, which I believe is to end the season. Everyone should have that game circled because that game is going to be insane. That's a game both teams are playing for. It may be the 10th game, but you know at the end of the day, both teams have that game circled for sure on their
schedule. Home game at University City to close out the season, October 28th.
That game, that's going to be a must
watch. So on the flip side, though, they didn't even win the CIF championship last year. Patrick Henry did. New coach, new running back, maybe some new key players. But we've talked about Hassan Nuruddin on the defensive side, Corey Symington, an offensive lineman. They've got some of the maybe less known, but equally as valuable, if not more valuable, base parts returning from last year's championship team. So Patrick Henry, they're going to be an interesting one to watch to see if they can maintain that level of success. Point Loma coming down from Division II last year, coming off of not having a varsity season 2 years ago, seems to go now with a lot of hype and maybe feeling like they are the big dog in this one, pun entirely intended there. But they feel like they are maybe one of the ones in the driver's seat early on, at least in terms of just the general vibe that's coming out from camp.
Yeah, I also think a team got a circle is a team that's coming off an 11-win season. West Hills last year, obviously, big talk of the county. They won 11-0, and then they lose in the playoffs to Ramona. Heartbreaking losses, like 51-0. So this is a team that they've done it. They've proven that they can win games, but now they have to prove that they can do it consistently late into the year. So that's a team you definitely have to watch throughout the season. Just coming off the season like that, you got to have high expectations. Having a loss like that, it really is crushing. So keeping an eye on them is going to be key.
The Bishop School, another one that came down from Division II last year, William Fierro, their quarterback, has, it seems like a variety of options, guys that can come out of the backfield, guys that can go downfield. They are ultimately going to be involved in the conversation constantly of, do they have enough men to stay healthy? Are they going to be drained? Are they, you know, they're going to be in physically like athletic anaerobic shape to do it. Are they going to be in the football shape of just not dinged up to the point where they have to play too much of shuffling? If that team can stay healthy, I think they have enough offensive weapons that you always got to look at Bishops, especially now that they by their own admission are a D3-ish kind of school. D2 gets a little hard for a team that is both physically and numerically small across the board. You don't see a ton of Division II success in terms of like, we'll see how SFC does up this year. We'll and we'll get to that in a different video. Make sure you go check that out. But for Bishops, being in D3 feels like it could be a sweet spot, especially for this senior class. Who else do you have up in that upper group?
A team I'm excited to watch. I want to see how El Cap responds losing their big guys. Obviously, Savian Yokley's graduating. So that's a team that they always seem to have a guy. It's like a revolving door. Everyone comes out of nowhere every year. So I'm excited to see who steps up for them, produces in the offense. Morris is going to have guys. They have athletes. They have one of the best rushing teams in the county. See what their offense does. They're gonna have big linemen on both sides. So if you like a good game where the ball is being ran and the trenches are tough, go watch Morse play football this year.
I don't know how you're going to talk about good game of running the ball and not talk about San Pasqual. Historically, they have had a team that doesn't deviate much year to year, at least on the base end of their production, because they have really well-trained big dudes up front that clear nice holes that anyone can run through. I don't see why you would think that that's going to be any different this year from what we've seen out of San Pasqual so far. I think that they feel kind of to me like feel kind of like Point Loma. They're one of the bigger dogs in this one. They're one of the teams that's at least in control out the gate in terms of setting the bar for what's going to be excellent and what's going to be championship potentially worthy in this Division III race. Anybody we're forgetting? Anybody we're overlooking here, Colton?
I do want to highlight one player, Dante Scott out of Bonita Vista. Their leading receiver last year, put up almost 600 yards, 10 scores. So Bonita can kind of get forgotten about in this. Bonita's had a lot of success. They've also had a lot of no success. But Dante Scott's a player that he's fun to watch on the football field. He gets lost in this stacked division with all these great players, but he holds his own. He really does. So I'm excited to watch him this season. Hopefully a great senior year for him.
I'm going to give Bonita Vista, Rancho Buena Vista, and Olympian my teams to look out for, trap games, spoiler, whatever you want to call them, ultimately, that they're on a mission and they have the pieces, maybe not to do it 10 games in a row in a way that just, flexes on the whole county, but each one of those teams has a different variation in formation where they can pull off a big win at any given moment. I believe that, and I believe that will come into play huge because they'll play spoiler to somebody and either snake themselves into a decent playoff spot or get in with that last spot, and there will be turmoil caused because of how those three teams end up, I think, getting a couple of huge wins this year. Colton, Division III, top to bottom, like we said, we're starting to really talk about teams where everybody, though, has
a lot of fun.
A road to winning it. So make sure you stay tuned with us all season long. Colton Tull is at Pro Colton Tull. I'm at Mr. CPED. The show is at SD Prep Insider. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into this one. Go check out all of our other division previews on our YouTube.